The Clinton collapse during a memorial service 11/9 for 15 years has raised concerns about the possibility she could not continue to run for president. According to U.S. magazine Heavy, which makes the public question, who is going to replace Clinton in this case, and the two names most mentioned are Bernie Sanders and U.S. Vice President Joe Biden. Clinton's doctors said, before attending a memorial service 11/9 for 15 years, Clinton was diagnosed with pneumonia and a high fever when she participated in the said event. Although then she has appeared at the apartment of his daughter Chelsea and waved to reporters to prove that her health situation nothing serious, her medical records earlier still raises up a lot of questions about who might replace her, becoming his rival Trump in case she had to give up halfway. Medical history worrisome. Although Clinton insisted remain healthy, but her medical records showed many things still very worrying. In a report published in May 7/2015, Clinton's doctor, Lisa Bardak, wrote, medical records of Mrs. Clinton showed she had severe blockage of blood vessels in 1998 and 2009, as well as ever fractured elbow in 2009 and brain concussion in 2012. Thrombosis. Clinton has made her to take medication to thin the blood clot formed. In the process she had to move constantly by plane in the foreign trip. According to the Centers for Disease Control in the U.S., the clot is extremely dangerous for people or have to move a lot by plane. They are formed at the foot of them because they have to sit too long. Everything will become more serious if the clot is broken and spread throughout the body, especially the lungs. In addition, Clinton also being treated hypothyroidism, a thyroid disorder that cannot produce enough of the hormone essential. In 2009, Mrs. Clinton was foreign minister when he collapsed. U.S. ever made her fractured right elbow surgery and for 2 hours. To 2012, Clinton made her a virus infection, abdominal pain and fainting caused her brain concussion. Doctors later found she had a blood clot in the brain and sought to dissolve the clot. Sanjay Gupta, physician, a medical expert working for CNN, said, from what is recorded in the records of Mrs. Clinton, we can see, despite some worrying issues, Clinton be thorough medical examination. In the long term, not her brain ineffective and blood clots have been dissolved. However, he expressed cautious. Gupta Clinton to be diagnosed with pneumonia, this information has been given. However, this is a disease that can completely cure. However, this is still a serious disease and should not be taken lightly. Bernie Sanders is not default choice. Despite the more positive information about the current health of Clinton, Donald Trump, American billionaire, has voiced suggestion that Mrs. Clinton to resign. Mr. Trump shared on personal Twitter account, "I pray for Mrs. Clinton quickly recovered. However, I noticed that would be more fair to the American people if the Clinton campaign have to stop her." Mr. Sanders, as though her last rivals Clinton in the race for the White House. Democratic insiders, the current position candidate Clinton's default will not be passed on to Mr. Sanders in case she did not continue race with Mr. Trump. This also happened with Tim Kaine, candidate vice president of the Democratic Party. Instead, under the provisions of the National Congress of Democrats, DNC, the committee will select a replacement for Clinton, and DNC members are not obliged to take any special priority for him. Bernie Sanders are not Tim Kaine compared to the remaining names. In case of any character in the Democratic Party or alternatives except Mrs. Clinton, Mr. Kaine, he will remain vice presidential candidate of the Democratic Party. Article 3 of the regulations of the DNC stated that members of the Democratic Party can hold a special meeting to find a replacement for Mrs. Clinton. This meeting will be conducted only at the request of the chairman of the DNC, and a replacement will be selected through voting by majority. Opportunities for Joe Biden and John Kerry? Currently, Mr. Joe Biden is emerging as the most likely to be DNC Clinton alternatives for most. However, he chose Joe Biden. DNC will cause a backlash from his supporters Bernie Sanders. Accordingly, These people will probably conduct an aggressive campaign to persuade the DNC to select Mr. Sanders. This is likely to happen by Mr. Sanders has won the hearts of many voters of the Democrats in both the primaries and the time he criticized Donald Trump. However, in fact DNC from warming to him Sanders, this is clearly shown in the WikiLeaks emails, can handle the Mr. Sanders is the possibility of selected DNC is not encouraging. In this context, writer and filmmaker famous American Carol Gold proposed a very interesting information, that is, the American people want Secretary of State John Kerry was a substitute Clinton continues campaign elected President of the Democrats. Ms. Gold said, many Americans think John Kerry is a viable alternative to Clinton. He is internationally recognized as a talented negotiator.